Girl from the Ostrich Mountain channel presents the real story of a village girl from the sleepy slopes of the African Ostrich Mountain. When young, she did not know how her life story and journey would evolve. Her story will spark and inspire you. Let's listen. Here, it continues.
Welcome back. Here is chapter 12 of the story of the village girl from the slopes of the Ostrich Mountain. Let us continue. Back to the breaking news about my CPE scores. By sunset that same day, I began receiving unexpected gifts from the villagers. I was completely naive and had not yet come to terms with my sudden fame. When my father came home in the evening and learned about my outstanding performance, he felt immense pride in his daughter. He was as happy as anyone could be. His faith in me had been rewarded, and at that moment, his desire for my success was fulfilled. As a result, he also gained more respect from the villagers because of my achievements. I seemed to be taking too long to notice that my father had come home. He had already received the news about my good performance at school and was likely waiting for me to excitedly share the thrilling news circulating in the village. Sensing that my mind was elsewhere and far from his expectations, he walked over to where I was playing with the other children, took my hand, and led me into our house. He then asked me what I wanted, and for a moment I hesitated to respond because I didn't understand why he was asking me that question. Surprised by his inquiry, he asked me again what I wanted and mentioned that he had heard about my CP results and wanted to buy me a gift. As darkness fell outside, I innocently told my father that I wanted a samosa as a gift. For clarification, a samosa is a triangular pastry made from wheat flour and filled with either meat or vegetables. As children, samosas were a rare treat for us, enjoyed only once in a blue moon because they were made and sold at hotels. Villagers typically went to hotels only when it was absolutely necessary, and as children, we never had money to go to hotels to eat or drink. When I mentioned the gift I wanted, my father looked puzzled. He didn't expect me to ask for something that cost so little. He might have anticipated that I would request a beautiful dress or something more substantial as a gift. However, my father understood my innocence and the innocent desire that I had told him. He ordered samosas for me from the small hotel in the village where we had sometimes snuck into, and stolen mandasis, another delicious deep-fried pastry. I remember eating as many samosas as I could, and my father was willing to pay the bill no matter how big it was, as long as I had eaten to my satisfaction. I was so happy. Just like me, my siblings and my village mates who were playing with me were oblivious to the significance of what was happening. The adult villagers were excitedly discussing my CPE results. We were too young to fully understand what this meant for my parents. To them, it represented success, but for us, and especially for me, our duty as children was simply to go to school, learn, obey our teachers, complete our homework, and fulfill the responsibilities assigned to us by our parents. After that, all that mattered was having time to play, whether it was the rat game, rope skipping, hide and seek, or any other game we enjoyed. During our childhood, we lived in a world without the digital age. We didn't have mobile phones or other digital gadgets. I felt certain that my time to leave the village was drawing near. Admission letters from the Ministry of Education would soon arrive, guiding the village children who passed their examinations on where to go for further schooling. As I reflected on this, I began to feel sad, realizing I would miss the familiar village atmosphere and know my friends and my playmates. Together, we had created countless memories, and growing up in our village is a childhood experience that no child should miss. Some of the memories that make me laugh today and still amaze me revolve around being the quiet and obedient child I was. I often found myself sent on dangerous errands by my playmates while they kept watch. If we were caught, they would abandon me in trouble. Looking back, it seems these errands were intended to instill the virtue of courage in me as my journey in life continued. One time, I broke my heart after climbing a loquat tree to fetch the tiny yellow fruits they wanted. The loquats belonged to our elderly neighbor, and when his farmhand spotted us stealing the fruits, he chased us away. All my playmates ran off, leaving me stuck high in the tree. As I jumped to escape, I fell on the ground and broke my arm. The farmhand could not discipline me after my injury and instead took me to my mother. After a thorough beating for stealing the neighbor's loquats, she then took me to the hospital. The village tailor was another one who used to make our uniforms and repair the torn garments of the villagers. He also gave me a thorough beating after my playmates sent me to steal the tattered pieces of clothing that we used to make our balls for our games. As this phase of my childhood in the village began to close, I slowly started to open my eyes to the horizon. This is the end of chapter 12.